Hello, my name is Assembly Member Gonzalez, and I want to welcome you to my office today. I hear you're on your lobby day.
Yes, good morning. Thank you so much for meeting with us today. I'm Jane Kinner. My pronouns are she, her. I'm an intern with NASW California and MSW candidate at Sac State. I'm going to pass the mic to let everybody introduce themselves before we get started. So Jonathan, you want to go first?
Hello, Assemblymember Gonzalez. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Jonathan Go. I'm also an intern at NASW California and an Master's of Social Work student at Sacramento State. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
Hi,
to meet you.
Assemblymember Gonzalez. My name is Sage Brand. I use the pronouns they, them, and I am an MSW candidate at UCLA and an NASW intern as well.
Hello, Assemblymember Gonzalez. My name is Alan Young. I am currently an MSW student and also an intern at the NASW California chapter.
Nice to meet you all.
Thank you, everyone. So we are all here representing the National Association of Social Workers, California chapter. NASW is a membership organization that represents professionals that have a degree in social work. The mission of NASW California is to improve the conditions of life for all California residents through promoting the quality and effectiveness of social work practice in the state. Social workers are different from other professionals in that we orient ourselves with a person and environment perspective. We work to address all manners of injustice, whether that be as a licensed clinical social worker, providing therapy, or advocating for client populations and addressing social justice issues, just like we're doing today. So today we are participating in NASW California's annual lobby day, and we're here to speak to you about three bills: AB 1816, authored by Assemblymember Bryan, AB 1900, authored by Assemblymember Arambula, and AB 2222, authored by Assemblymember Reyes.
Wow, that's quite a variety of bills you got there.
Yes, we like to branch out and get a diverse group of bills so that we're, not only advocating for our profession, but also advocating for the communities that we serve, especially in this time of crisis in California. So I think Sage is going to get us started with AB 1816.
Hello, Assembly Member. I am a constituent wanting to talk about AB 1816, which is the Reentry Housing and Workforce Development Program. And this was put together by Assembly Members Bryan and Kalara, and they are the authors of this landmark bill, which is looking at a more holistic approach to the reentry and housing of formerly incarcerated members who also just have to face the inequities that are entering into the housing market right now. And as you know, the rising rent costs and the competitiveness, and adding in another layer to this, and looking at the facts, about half the people experiencing homelessness report a history of incarceration. This compounded with the COVID-19 health pandemic and economic challenges in California. This bill is going to create a pathway to reduce homelessness and houselessness, and looking at rates and programs that are made by evidence-based housing, and looking at programs that actually work rather than just looking at the data, and looking at employment and development services to people recently released from incarceration. The funding for this program will come from the general fund and will be sustained by an additional budget request. Additionally, these individuals will, have to face a lot of discrimination when coming out of prison. And studies repeatedly show that housing and a job are far more cost effective than incarceration as a whole. Especially if you see in the documentary 13th, you'll know how important this issue is rooted in our country. And AB 1816 proposes that the Department of Housing and Community Development will work with community-based organizations which use case management to help individuals 90 days prior to their release from prison, which will include housing navigation and acquisition services, looking at wraparound services. And so this is really, really important. And, a lot of the time foster youth are a part of this population. I'm a former foster youth, and I was very fortunate to be able to go as a transfer student from community college to my undergrad and be in the California UC system. And that was provided by bills that have given me funding and to be able to do that. And so I can see the benefits of these services serving individuals that were not as fortunate as me. And also, I just wanted to end with a quote. And the senior legislative advocate of Housing California said, Californians coming home from prison need effective housing solutions that create pathways towards long-term economic stability. And so that's just like the summarization of this bill. And I just wanted to say thank you for your support in listening to this particular bill that I want to support.
Sure. I do have one question. Why should we prioritize this community, people leaving prison, over other people in need?
Great question. So this population is in particular need for resources. There's a clear and concerning connection between houselessness and involvement with the criminal legal system. And we're looking at 1/3 to 1/2 of the people currently on parole are experiencing homelessness, as many as 20% of people leaving prison do not have a stable place to live. And so that is the facts and the figures. And so hoping to do something about that.
Great, thank you.
And Assembly Member, can we count on your support with your vote for AB 1618?
Well, I think it sounds, interesting. It's an interesting concept. But I think at this point, I'm going to wait and listen to the debate in committee. But thank you.
Thank you. We're happy to answer any other questions that you might
Okay.
have. So moving on to AB 1900, Jonathan, go ahead and go.
Okay, so I hope you like math. This one gets a little complicated. So AB 1900, it deals with the maintenance need income level. And so what that is, it's defined as the amount of money that a medically needy person should reasonably expect to need to pay their non-medical living expenses, things such as food, clothing, cost of living. In Assemblymember Gonzalez, what do you think in 2022, what do you think that income level would be a month?
For you said, what did you say again? Non-housing costs or
For non-medical costs.
non-medical, sorry,
Yeah,
excuse me. Oh my gosh, it would be, $1,500 a month.
right. Well, that's
Mhm.
actually a really good answer. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right now, we actually have it set at only $600.
Wow.
That's because it was set in 1989, and it
Mhm.
hasn't been updated since. So the reason that's important, right, is because we use that maintenance need income level
Mhm.
to determine how much our disabled and elderly population will pay for cost sharing, right?
Mhm.
So, for example, currently under our current plan, if someone makes $1,481, they don't have any cost sharing. Their Medi-Cal is free. But if they make
Mhm.
$1 more, they have to pay $882, right? And imagine if you're making $1,482
Mhm.
and then you make excuse me, and then you have a medical thing come up
Mhm.
and you have to pay $882 before you receive services. That
Mhm.
you might have to skip out on rent, or you might have to just skip out on that medical expense, and that can be damning for our
Mhm.
disabled and elderly populations.
Mhm.
So what AB 1900 does is it raises the maintenance need income level to 138% of the federal poverty line, which is, $1,482, right? So instead of that person paying $882 if they make $1,482 a month, they wouldn't pay anything. And then if they made, say, for example, $1,500 a month, they'd only pay $18 a month, which is much more reasonable for a cost sharing program. So AB 1900 is crucially needed, especially in this time where we
Mhm.
see the price of rent go up, the price of food, and the price of gas. Every living expense in California is on the rise right now, and because we haven't maintained our laws to match what they define themselves as,
Hmm.
we are letting down our elderly and disabled population. So that's why we strongly urge your urgent support for AB 1900.
Okay, well, I can see how it's a really important issue. I mean, those are in very important communities. Um, but let me make this, make sure I have this right. So $600 is the current maintenance cost,
That's
um,
correct.
which hasn't been updated forever. And so
Yes.
this would raise it to 138% of poverty level, so
Yes.
that there would be more people that don't need to pay cost sharing or co,
That's correct.
Okay,
That's correct. Yes.
because it does, I mean, you're right. It gets a little confusing with the math,
Right.
but
Yeah.
just want to make sure I understand the basic gist of the bill.
Right.
Um,
It wouldn't just reduce the number of people paying, it would also reduce the amount people pay.
okay,
So yeah, so just to be clear,
okay.
the math is basically like they take your income and they
Hmm.
subtract the maintenance need income level from it, and that's the amount you have to pay. So with
Okay,
an
I get it.
increase, yeah, with an increase in the percentage of the federal poverty level that we are defining as the maintenance need income level, we
Hmm.
reduce the cost of medical expenses for our vulnerable, disabled, and elderly populations.
Okay, well, I really respect Assemblymember Arambula. I think he knows what he's doing. I think his committee, the committees he chairs and his staff know what they're doing. So yeah, um, definitely a needed bill.
Yes. So I guess we can count on your support then.
Yeah, this is a likely bill that I will support.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
That's really great to hear, and thank you, Jonathan, for explaining all of that complicated math for all of us. Alan, how about you kick it off for AB 2222?
Sure. Hi. Yeah. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Go ahead.
Excellent. Cool. All right. So the bill that I'm talking about is AB 2222, which is the Golden State Social Opportunities Program.
Hmm.
Basically, what it is it establishes the Golden State Social Opportunities Program, which is a scholarship that's going to encourage students with lived experiences as former foster and homeless youth to pursue careers as LCSWs, LPCCs, and LMFTs. With the pandemic, our workforce was pretty decimated. There's a huge shortage of mental health workers, and it's something that we need to address because right now there's a huge demand. Like I said, the pandemic, it didn't just wipe out social workers, it wiped out a lot of people. A lot of people are in need of resources and support. And currently the workforce of social workers doesn't reflect California's diversity. Black and Latino professionals are the most underrepresented groups in this field. And it's really important for the workforce to reflect the diversity of the communities that they serve. This bill essentially addresses those shortages with mental health workforce by reducing financial barriers for students as they complete their field work to become LCSWs. I'm a student myself. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. And sometimes in order to complete our hours, we have to reduce hours at work. We have to reduce hours at home. There's a whole lot of time that we're investing into this. And this bill kind of gives people who have a working experience of being homeless and being former foster youth, kind of gives them a break, right? The reason we're focusing on former foster youth and former homeless youth is because California has the largest population of homelessness in the United States, and in order to better serve that community, it really helps to have a perspective on the unique challenges that community is facing. And essentially what this bill does is it administers scholarships of up to $20,000 annually to students who commit to working for at least 2 years at a California-based nonprofit upon completion of their graduate school course of study. So basically, we're investing in California social workers. Therefore, California social workers are going to invest in California. It's a worthwhile bill for a worthwhile cause, and we'd love to have your support on it.
Okay. It sounds good. I mean, I think we've all heard about the mental health workforce crisis. I know there's a lot of competing proposals out there, but I think we all want to help get more professionals online. So, yeah, I'll take a good look at this when it comes before me in committee.
I also wanted to mention I'm also a constituent of yours, so I
Oh,
just wanted
great.
to throw that out there as
Good,
well.
good.
So
It's always
thank you.
nice to meet people from my district.
Yeah, thanks.
Are there any other questions that you have that we can help you answer about any of these bills or anything else?
No, I don't think so, but thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. And, there's a lot of bills that go through the legislative process, a lot of bills that go across my desk, but I will look for these, and I'll tell my staff to note when they're going to be up for a vote.
Great, thank you so much. I'll drop the link for NASW's website in the chat that has a lot of more information about these bills and about what we do, just in case you have any questions come up. But thank you so much for meeting with us. Thank you for your time. I know it's a very busy season in the legislature, so we really appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.